Good morning all, I am Smita. In my previous video, we have discussed about the respiration, and today in this video we will discuss about the transportation. First of all, what is transportation? Okay? We all know that a body of an organism is made up of cells. All these cells require energy, oxygen, water, minerals, and other organic food for their survival and maintenance, and also to carry out their vital activities. Some of these essential substances are absorbed by the body at a specific sites, but some of the substances are prepared by the body itself at a site different from the specific sites. So these components must be transported from one part of the body to the another. So the process by which a substance are produced or absorbed in one part of the organism and is carried to every part of its, we call them as an life transportation. So today we'll study about the transportation in human beings. In humans, various substances such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones, etc. are transported by a specialized system from one part to the other. Generally, the materials are transported to the tissue by two specialized systems. One is the blood vascular system and other one is a lymphatic system. Today we will discuss about the blood vascular system. So, what is blood now? Blood is a fluid connective tissue which circulates in our body. It is red in color due to the presence of a red pigment called as hemoglobin. Okay, in blood contains of two components. One is the plasma and other one is a blood corpuscles. So first we will discuss about the plasma. A plasma is a straw colored slightly alkaline fluid. Okay, it is a liquid part of the blood and it contains the cells suspended in it, and this plasma is going to transport the food, the carbon dioxide and the nitrogenous waste dissolved in a dissolved form. Next one we have is a blood corpuscles. These are the blood cells. Okay, there are three types of blood cells, namely red blood cells, which we called as RBC, or which is also called as an erythrocytes. Okay, the hemoglobin present in the blood helps to transport the oxygen from lungs to the tissues. Then we have is a white blood cells or WBC. It is also called as the leukocytes. These cells fight infection and protect us from the diseases. And third type of cell we have is a blood platelets, which is also called as thrombocytes, and they help in blood clotting or coagulation of blood during a cut or a wound. Now, many other substances like salts are also transported by the blood. Now, we studied that blood act as an important medium to carry the substances such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones, vitamins, etc. to various parts of the blood. But do you know how the blood is circulated or how the blood is transported? Blood circulates in our body. So the blood circulatory system in human consists of a pumping organ, the heart, which is called the heart, and other one is a blood vessels. So we'll study about the heart now. So we will now discuss about the human heart. Human heart is a hollow muscular organ, roughly a triangular or a conical in shape, and it weighs about 250 to 350 gram and is about the size of a closed fist, measuring about 12 centimeter in the length and 9 centimeter in the width. It is placed obliquely in the center of the chest, above the diaphragm, in between the lungs. Okay, was the structure of an heart. Now we'll study about the internal structure of a human heart. Human heart is divided into four chambers, as you can see in the image there. Okay, that is to prevent the mixing of the oxygenated blood from the deoxygenated blood. The four chambers include upper two atria, and the lower two chambers are called as ventricles, as you can see in the images here, that this is the atrium, these two are the atrias, and these two will be the ventricles of an heart. Now, so it is a muscular organ which is as big as your fist. It is made up of a cardiac muscles, and it has a four-chambered heart, which is two upper two chambers we call as an atria, and the lower two it is in ventricles. So, because both oxygen and the carbon dioxide have to be transported by the blood, the heart has different chambers to prevent the oxygen rich blood from mixing with the blood containing carbon dioxide. Like the carbon dioxide rich blood has to reach the lungs for carbon dioxide to be removed, and the oxygenated blood from the lungs has to be brought back to the heart. This oxygen rich blood is then pumped the rest of the body. So this is about the structure of a heart. Now we'll study about the functioning of the heart. How a heart is going to function. So we already discussed that heart is made up of four chambers. The upper two we call it as an atria, and the atria is a thin walled and smaller than the ventricles. And the lower two chambers we call them as in ventricles, and ventricles are the thin walled and they are the larger than the atrium. Now how this heart is going to functions? The functioning of the human heart. So, the oxygen rich blood or the oxygenated blood from the lungs is poured into the left auricles of the heart by the pulmonary vein, and the left atrium relaxes when it is collecting this blood. Now, the left auricle contracts, the oxygenated blood is pushed into the left ventricles to the bicuspid wall. Okay. When the left ventricle contracts, the oxygenated blood enters into the aorta and goes into the various parts of the blood except the lungs. The deoxygenated blood from the body organs enters into the vena cava and is carried to the right auricle. When the deoxygenated blood reaches the right auricle, it contracts and deoxygenated blood is pushed into the right ventricle to the tricuspid wall. When the right ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped into the lungs through the pulmonary artery. In the lungs, the deoxygenated blood in the lungs the deoxygenated blood is releases the carbon dioxide, absorb the oxygen and become oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood is again sent to the left auricle by the pulmonary vein for circulation. Thus the whole process is repeated continuously and the blood keeps circulating in our body without stopping. Now we'll study about the double circulation. When the blood passes through the heart twice, we call it as in blood circulation. See, in human case, the blood is going to pass into the in the heart twice, and this is called as a double circulation. The first circulation involves the entry of the deoxygenated blood from the various parts into the heart, and the second circulation involves the entry of the oxygenated blood from the lungs into the heart, which is then distributed to all the parts of the body. Okay, this is about a double circulation. You can blood vessels. Blood vessels are the thin tubes which carry the blood throughout our body. There are three kinds of blood vessels. There is arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. First one we'll discuss about the arteries. Arteries are the thick-walled and elastic blood cells which carry the blood from heart to various parts of the body. The main artery is called as aorta, which carries the oxygenated blood from the right ventricle to all the parts of the body except the lungs. But the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood. Since the blood emerges from the heart under the high pressure, the arteries have thick elastic walls. The next we'll study about is the veins. Veins are the thin-walled and they are the less elastic blood vessels which carry the blood from all the parts of the body back to the heart. They do not need thick walls because the blood is no longer under the pressure. Only when the pressure is high, when the blood is leaving from the heart. Okay, and instead they have the walls to ensure that the blood flows only in the one direction. Next one we have is capillaries. On reaching an organ or the tissue, the arteries is going to divide smaller and smaller vessels to bring the blood in contact with all the individual cells. The smaller vessels have walls which are one cell thick, and these are called as capillaries. The exchange of materials between the blood and the surrounding takes place across this thin wall. The capillaries then join together to form a veins and that convey the blood away from the organ or the tissues. Now, what happens if the system of tubes develops a leak? So, this is the important question. The leakage would lead to the loss of pressure, which would reduce the efficiency of pumping system. To avoid this, the blood has a platelet cells which circulate around the body and plug these leaks by helping to clot the blood at these points of injury. The next one we have is an blood pressure. What is this blood pressure? It is a pressure or the force that blood exerts against the wall of a vessels. We call them as an blood pressure. Okay. This pressure is much greater in arteries than in the veins. The pressure of the blood inside the artery during the ventricular systole is called as systolic pressure. That is, when the heart contracts, the maximum pressure at which the blood is pumped from the heart to the aorta, we call them as a systolic pressure. And the pressure in which the artery during the ventricular diastole, that is relaxation, we call it as a diastolic pressure. A normal systolic pressure is about 120 mm of Hg and diastolic is about 80 mm of Hg. The blood pressure is measured with an instrument which we call it as a sphygmomanometer, and high blood pressure is called as in hypertension and is caused by the contraction of arterioles which results in an increased resistance to blood flow. It can lead to rupture of an artery and the internal bleeding. Hope you have understood what I have taught. Thank you.